Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? It's your boy Jay Spence the King, and it's the day before Halloween, but it is Miami week again. That means it's Daddy's Day coming up tomorrow, as well as Halloween. I got my homegirl K Gun in the building. I got my homegirl A Dub Big Dubs in the building. Not sure where Sterls for the girls is, but we gonna catch them soon. What's going on, ladies?
What's up?
Hey.
Hey, so how's your week been?
Good. It's a good weekend. I mean, ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Really ready for tomorrow.
Yes, I'm loving the costume. That's amazing.
Yeah. So for everybody listening to this in podcast form, so yesterday Kristen posted a picture of her in her Halloween costume, and she's like a Dolphins trainer with like a dead dolphin. It's like the dopest. It's just the best. She won, hands down. She won.
Here we go. SeaWorld.
So you're going to the game like that, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna wear it to the game tomorrow. And actually, one of my season ticket partners is dressing up as a dolphin with like an arrow through his head. So
nice
for us on the TV.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch out for Peter. I know Peter's gonna be looking for you, so we're gonna watch out for them.
Maybe they'll give me a pass on this one, though. You know.
Yeah, it's the Dolphins. I mean, it's just for the game. It's not for real. It's not for real. A Dubs, Big Dubs, what you looking like? What we wearing tonight?
You know what? I got Catwoman, but Catwoman's got to be a Bills fan, so I got my Trey Waite Goalie Academy shirt on as well. So rocking out with that tonight.
Saweetie did the Catwoman thing. I'm gonna just say the Bills Mafia version is better. A Dubs, Big Dubs holding it down like we do. What's up? We got my man John in the building. What's up, John? Appreciate you kicking it with us. We got Jessica in the house. Hey, Jess. It's my homegirl. My man Jason Taylor. Hey. He gonna be here, Jason. Sterls is coming. He just texted me. He said he got some technical difficulties with his computer, so we just gonna get going right to it. I do have a guest coming in a little bit later on. He's a member of Buffalo Fanatics. He is a Dolphins fan, and he very much represents for them. And it's a tough year for him, so I can't wait to talk some crap to my man Kevin. He's gonna come through in a few minutes, but hey, let's get to it real quick. Let's take it back. So we had a bye week, so we took a week off. Kristen, you went to the Tennessee game that we took a tough L on. So talk to us a little bit about that.
I mean, we took over. So I actually had to stay in Kansas City. Oh my God, I had to stay in Tennessee for a couple extra days because I travel for work a lot, and ironically, I had a conference for work in Nashville like 2 days after the game. So I stayed there. So I actually spent all of Tuesday just kind of by myself, like meandering down Broadway and trying to pound as much water as possible to recover. But because of that, I was just sitting in these bars, kind of like shooting the shit with like a bunch of the bartenders. And I kept asking them, like, what was the vibe compared to a couple of years ago? Like, I was asking them all these questions. And the one bartender that was really talking to me told me, she's like, she goes, I will say, she's like, it was a little bit lighter than 2 years ago. However, she goes, 2 years ago, we had no idea that you guys were going to turn out like this. And she also told me that about the only other team that does show up like Bills Mafia is the Eagles. And I think that might just be proximity based. But she said, they're the only ones that come close to us. We always come in and we just do a full-blown takeover to the point that this time they prepared for us and ordered extra beer, knowing that Bills Mafia was coming. So I thought that was hilarious because honestly, walking down Broadway on Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday, everybody was all straight Bills gear. I mean, it was like we completely took over. It was to a point that it was like a joke with my group that was walking that we'd be like, oh, there's a Titans fan, make that number 5, because you didn't see Titans fans out at all. Tailgating was hilarious because we had, the main tailgate was the one that was that paid tailgate. So we were in there for a little bit, and it was kind of like, imagine thousands of Bills Mafia in this huge parking lot, and directly across the street is where what is wrong with me tonight? It's right where the Titans fans were tailgating at. When I'm not joking, it was like it was very like proper feeling, like they were sitting in their chairs. I would be surprised if they weren't playing checkers. Like there was no like rowdiness or anything about them. And here we are literally like across the street, like just going apeshit. So like we had a really good time, even inside the game, like watching the teams come in. It sounded like it was a home game. Like the roars that went through that stadium when the Bills came on the field and the boos that went through that stadium when the Titans came on the field, it felt like we were at home. And I know that they said, I think the graphic was like 58% of us were like all, the tickets sold came out of New York. I'll tell you that half of my group of 30 was from out of state. So I would actually project that more to being like, we probably had 60 to 65% Bills fans in that stadium. It was just, we know how it went, right? The day after wasn't great, especially kind of being the one lone straggling Bills fan that was just walking the streets. Titans fans then they were out. But honestly, the city was good to us. I hope that we were good back to them. I don't think that we trashed anything or did anything crazy. So it was good. Overall, it was a really good time. Just wish it would have ended a little bit differently.
Yeah, so the one thing that I can kind of resonate with, so obviously everybody knows at this point I live in Phoenix. So I went to the Thursday night game last couple days ago, and Phoenix or Arizona played against Green Bay. And I feel like the experience you have for the Bills fans being in Tennessee is what I experienced, but on the opposite end, because I'm telling you, it was absolutely a home game for the Green Bay Packers this past Thursday. When I tell you, I don't know how it was on TV. I didn't go back and rewatch the broadcast, but it's insane. So I couldn't imagine how. And then Bills fans tailgate differently, and we are a whole different type of animal down there. And I actually referenced you on the Code of Conduct this week because I was laughing. After the game, you texted me and you were like, "Man, we talk so much shit." And then now you're like, it's like you were mad about it. So talk to me a little bit about the disappointment, and then we're gonna bring my guy Sterles in. He's in the building.
I mean, it's never fun to be in a opposing team's city, like in their home city, and lose the game, especially when, like I said, it was rare to see a Titans fan leading up to that game. So when you did see one, hell yeah, we talked shit, But then it was kind of like, I mean, one of the things I remember most during the game was, and honestly, I don't remember what play it was exactly, but at one point they started chanting. It was a big play that Henry had, and they started chanting MVP, MVP. And it was like right after that Josh had nailed it, like a zinger for a touchdown. I think it was the one to Manuel. And instantly it was like the other half of the stadium started doing, like, we were all pointing back at them being like MVP, MVP. And it's stuff like that I don't think that you can hear on the broadcast, but like we were going back and forth in that stadium like that with groups of fans the whole game. So it was like actual very like avid shit talking like the whole game. And then to lose that, we got shit talked the whole way out. Like I said, I didn't get a ton of dirt the next day. It wasn't like anybody was really mean to me because again, I was kind of like lonely walking the streets by myself, but there would be that one person that would walk by me and it would be like, nice game, huh? Because of course, all that I brought there to wear outside of my work conference and my work clothes was Bills gear. So like the next day I had to, and believe me, I was going to rock it proud no matter what. But it was still like, I was still getting jabs the next day. And I was like, come on, bro, I'm by myself. But yeah, the disappointment was real. I think it was more disappointing because when you're there and you're in the moment, looking back on it now, it took me maybe 3 days to get over that loss because at the end of the day, like we look what that team just did to Kansas City. They're a good team, and that was very evident while we were there. And the way that we lost was heartbreaking, but also there's a piece of that I feel like we kept that game close. We kept that game closer than a lot of other teams have been able to do with them. And that says more to me than the actual loss itself. So it's kind of, a double-edged sword with the bitterness and the disappointment, but it was a good time and also a not so great time at the same time.
Yeah, well, real quick, I'm gonna take a quick pause on that. I'm gonna bring my man Sterles for the girls in. What up, Sterles?
Hey. Man, yeah, what's up, man? What's up?
Man, you finally got to us.
It's one of the things where you work in IT, but when your stuff don't work, man, it's like a wet sandwich, dog. It just ain't even nice right now. So.
Well, that's all right. You here, and that's all we care about, man. So, it might not be your normal setup. You might not have the whole thing that you do, but hey, you in the building.
I'm here. Hey, I'm the only one that's not in costume too.
Come on, what are you doing?
Right, man. Dang.
The message went through. It ain't like it wasn't communicated that the chop up wasn't going to be chopping it up in Halloween form this week.
Hey, it's all good though. It's all good.
Just saying, and shout out to 26 shirts. Like I'm still rocking the Buffalo joint that came out a few years ago that really I haven't even worn. This is my first time putting it on. They'll do some good stuff over there. Speaking of that, I need y'all to head over to 26 Shirts while we're on this broadcast or after the broadcast or whatever, and pick up. We got a good thing going on right now. Well, I guess I can say myself and Dale. At the end of the Code of Conduct show, y'all know I always end the show by saying, love each other, take care of each other, and live in peace. And as always, stay positive, test negative, go Bills. We got a shirt edition, special edition of that Stay Positive, Test Negative going on right now. It's benefiting the crisis services of Buffalo. And I'm going to tell you what, they're a great organization with great resources for a lot of people who need them. Please go over there and check out the shirts, grab a hoodie. I got a hoodie. I can't wait for the whole thing to happen. So, but let's get back to the show real quick because we got a special guest coming in. I missed this dude, so I ain't going to bring him in yet. Real close. But before we do, I want to just 2 more questions about that game. Let's switch over to Aaron's real quick. Everybody going into that game, we were all like, oh, we going to smack the Titans. Like, it's about to be over with. We about to straight just dominate them. It is what it is. They came out and punched us in the mouth. They're a physical team. Derrick Henry he's a man, he's a man. What for you? What do you feel like is an area of concern, like going forward, or do we have any areas of concern? Like, was that just was it just a game? Like, okay, that happened. The Bills should have won. We should have converted in the red zone in that first quarter those 2 times, and we would have won, or whatever. Like, whatever you can point to. But then going forward, do we have anything to be concerned about?
I'll keep it a buck. We got bullied. I feel like we got bullied by Derrick Henry, by AJ Brown, and it was really frustrating because I'm just like, it almost reminds me of like when we play the Chiefs, and it's like, how do we contain, Kelsey? How do we contain Tyreek Hill and guys like that? And it's like, I feel like the Kansas City game was so hyped up that it's like, oh, if we beat them, like, that the rest of the season's a wrap and we're good to go. But I don't feel like that at this point because I feel like if you can't go week in and week out and consistently beat people, if you have 2 people that are like really, really putting the pressure on and you can't contain them and you can't figure it out, like, I feel like that's a problem. So that's, I guess, consistency, I would say, for me, is like when you have these big marquee games that are really counting and we can't figure out a way to, figure it out. That's what concerns me. But I feel like, we have the right weapons. I feel like we're doing the right things. There were some unfortunate things, especially, 4th and 1, and you kind of, saw Josh's foot slip like that, and it's unfortunate, but I think we're heading in the right direction. We're doing the right things, but I think just getting some consistency and building our confidence is like the biggest thing that I'm thinking of right now.
All right. Earth Rocker says that tomorrow's costume for Tua is going to be a quarterback. He said he's an imposter right now. My man, Steros for the girls, real quick. Last question on this Titans game, and then we're going to bring my man Kevin in. I can't wait to talk to Kevin because I got some shit to talk to Kevin. I'm going to talk so much shit to Kevin. But so real quick, Steros, so in the 3 games that we faced him prior, because I actually it was you and I for the chop up prior to that game. We didn't have the ladies with us for that weekend. And we basically were like, look, I mean, yeah, he's Derrick Henry. He's the dude, but the Bills kept him in check. We ain't that scared. And then this dude came out and did some different stuff to us. What made the difference? Because the first 3 times we played him, I think he averaged like 65 yards or 67 yards on us. This dude went off. What was the difference?
I mean, greatness is the difference. I mean, Derrick Henry is he's that dude. You're not going to keep, that's like saying you're going to hold Steph Curry to only making 1 3-pointer in the game consistently for a 7-game series. It's just not going to happen, right? So, I mean, he got the help of the officials. I ain't going to lie. He had 2 of his touchdown runs should have been holding penalties, but he can't take away anything he was doing. It was just one of those games where he was just going to have his day, and when you can establish the ground game like that, and for what the Tennessee Titans do so well is play action pass. It got the linebackers to kind of cheat in, and then, it just kind of opened up the game where, AJ Brown, like Catwoman up there said, it just bust the game wide open. So I'm all right with it, though. That game, we talked about it. I wasn't even mad. Like, Derrick Henry got his. We're not going to keep a good running back down like that. So if we see him again, I think we beat him for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think that like even with the loss, like there were so many things that I saw that I'm like, you know what? It just kind of, I'm not saying the Titans weren't good. They punched us in the face. They were absolutely the more physical team. They were absolutely doing the things that they needed to do to win the way they can win. But I feel like the Bills just make mistakes.
Yeah.
First two that I can think of is, when you start in the first quarter in the red zone twice and you walk away with 3 points as opposed to 7. You're not going to win games against very good teams, playoff caliber teams, scoring 3 points as opposed to 7. You're just not going to do it. And, we could talk about the special teams play.
Mhm.
Hey, real quick.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to bring Kevin in on right after this part, and I'm going to actually kind of piggyback this question because y'all know me, and it's not even just about the return game stuff. I value special teams heavy. Like, I love to talk about special teams, and I think they're important. It's 1/3 of the game. And both times that we lost, there were big plays on special teams that you can kind of say contributed to us not winning. So week 1 against Pittsburgh, it was a block punt that ended up being a touchdown for Pittsburgh that put the game away. This last game that we played, it was a holding penalty when Isaiah McKenzie pretty much looked like he had the touchdown. Like he was in there, looked back, got disappointed. So all I'm going to say is, look, I need y'all to start putting some respect on what those guys on special teams do. It's a very important part of the game. And with that being said, I'm going to take you back to the beginning of when this all started for me. I started with the Buffalo Fanatics Network. I don't know exactly how they want me to say that. Buffalo Fanatics Pod Network. I think they've kind of moved away from the pod game and kind of start dominating this YouTube thing that we're doing. And I'm going to tell you what, Kevin gets down with my man Rico, and he gets down with all those other guys, and he does the thing, except he does it for Miami. And I don't know how much we like that. But what's up, Kevin?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, Kevin.
Man.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm so happy to see you here, man. I've missed you. It was good to connect. How you been?
Sterling.
I know, right? Look.
I haven't talked to Sterling. You remember the last time when we reviewed the Texans playoff game? Remember?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I know, man. How you doing, man?
I'm good.
You ready for this SmackDown you're going to take tomorrow?
1-6. Yeah, so not very good, but personally I'm okay,
Hey, how do you feel about the Deshaun Watson thing, man? Like we saw Tua in the media. Brian Flores had comments saying that Tua's our quarterback. Like, what's the pulse around the team right now?
Man, well, I'd say there is no pulse because this team is dead in the water. This is the most disappointing season in my entire life. Like Miami's had some bad teams, but you kind of expected it. And this year, we weren't thinking Super Bowl, but man, we were hoping at least for some playoffs coming off at 10-6 with a really young team, and we're trending upwards, and everything that could go wrong, every single decision we made has gone bad. And this Deshaun Watson thing has been hovering over the team since February. It's like, man, regardless of how you feel for Tua, I should say, who's succeeding in these circumstances? Like, what young quarterback's going to come in knowing that like he could get he's out halfway out the door any minute now? He just threw for 4 touchdowns last week, and every single question was, how do you feel about Deshaun Watson coming in? Like, man, I don't know. Like, if it was just football, I'd do it in a heartbeat, because I'd rather have, regardless of the cost, if you can check off franchise quarterback, which you guys know well, that's a big box. But with all this other stuff, man, I don't know. And the fans are very, very much against it. Every poll in all 3 major Florida papers is like 80% of the people don't want Deshaun Watson because of the the legal troubles. So man, it's crazy times. I've never seen anything like it.
Wow.
Well, let me ask you, so because the perspective from me looking outside in as a Bills fan, I'm like, okay, first of all, hell yeah, make this trade because you're going to trade away 3 first-round draft picks, apparently a couple second-round draft picks. You're going to gut the team, and then Deshaun Watson is going to end up either being suspended or going to jail anyway. So the team is going to be crippled for the next 6 to 7 years because you're going to have to go through a whole rebuild phase again. How do you look at the reports that are coming out that it actually might be a possibility that this thing goes through before the trade deadline?
I mean, I don't know, but I've been reading a lot about how there would be parameters in the deal with certain pick protection. Whereas if he did face criminal charges, they would get those picks back, and it would cost them, like something like smaller, like a couple of twos or something. So it would make it a bit more palatable as a roll of the dice. But so I don't think they're going to expose themselves to the full deal. I think literally it's going to be, here's the deal. If he gets charged in the next year, these picks come back, because the first that they'll get won't be, the Miami already owns 2 first rounders in 2023. So I assume they'd be part of the deal. So that's what I'm guessing. If something happens, those picks come back to Miami.
What do you think, K-Gun? I know, like, we've kind of talked about this, off the air. But what do you think about the possibility of all this stuff happening?
It's tough. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't know if you were going to say something. I am glad to hear that the majority of your fan base is against it, because I take it more on I'm looking at it from a moral responsibility, right? Like, yeah, there isn't solid proof on any of this stuff yet. It is still very much a he said, she said. There's no actual, there's 20 human beings that are all saying the exact same thing about this man. And there has been people that have been suspended from this league for so much less. And I would have a lot of trouble respecting not even just Miami, any team that would bring this man back into the league and let him play, and before this is finalized and before the actual truth comes out about this and what really happened and went down. So, I mean, I guess, and maybe that's also the female in me speaking, saying, we got to at some point stand up to this stuff, and there's always going to be maybe all these people are in cohorts together, maybe, but why are we even taking a chance at giving this person a shot or an opportunity on this level? There are so many people out there that would murder to get this opportunity to play like this in a league. There are so many other people. Like, why him? So just my personal stance on it, I would rather not see him back in the league at all on any team until it's been resolved. But it was interesting to hear you say, like I said, that most of the fans are against it as well, because we don't know that. We didn't know if all the Miami fans are like, yeah, let's get Watson, like, fix our life, like that sort of thing, or if it was still like, you guys being like, no, this is not a good move, because the rest of us, I feel like, are looking at it being like, oh, gross.
Spin says in the comments that this is America. You are guilty until proven guilty. I disagree with it. Like, so I spoke about this Wednesday on the Hump Day Hotline with Joe. One of the things that I rarely, especially on air, I try not to ever pull like a race card and talk about black people and all this stuff. But the thing is, it's like in America, as a black man, I realize that it's not often that black men are afforded to be innocent until proven guilty. So I'm very careful to not sit here and be like, that dude's guilty. Oh, he's guilty. He's guilty. He did that. I try not to do that. But when you're talking about something like this, where you have not one, not three, have friends who knew each other and they were all hanging out and said, hey, let's all put this story together and come out and talk about Deshaun. You have 20 plus women with a very similar story about something that's very uncomfortable. Bills fan, Miami fan, whatever fan base you're part of. I mean, at some point we have to say, okay, there's 22 or 24 people that, we kind of have to respect their feelings too. But we want to respect Deshaun Watson because he's a star NFL quarterback. I can't get with that. I just can't get with that. But we can move past that, because I don't want, I feel like it gets enough attention and conversation. But, hey, Daddy Daycare coming to Orchard Park. It's coming to Orchard Park tomorrow. Kev, man, what the Dolphins got to do to beat us, man? Because I don't see it. Well,
it's, there's a clear path to victory if your bus breaks down on the way to the field. Maybe if we get like 4 turnovers or something, you know what I mean? Like it would have to be like a donut factory with turnovers springing left, right, and center. We're going to need, a punt return for a touchdown. I'm going to need I don't know, man, like the ghost of Mercury Morris or something to rush for 2 touchdowns. I've been on record. I'm predicting 51-10.
Kev, real quick, I got to pause, man. We got like the super chat of super chats real quick. I got to shout out to my man Daniel Frederick. He don't really have a real question besides where's the anonymous option. I don't know, but because you did that, I'm gonna hit Bruce up like, hey, can you figure out the anonymous option? I appreciate you, man. Throw a question out there for us so we can talk to you real quick, man. I appreciate everything that you're doing there. The Chop Up crew appreciates you. Hey, let's keep it going. But go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry to cut you off.
But
well, go ahead, Kagan. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna knock you out of that anonymity, Dan, because Dan deserves a little bit of cred thrown his way. Dan is actually the man that showed up with that massive smoker to our Bills Mafia Babes tailgate. He donated all the meat. He took all of his own stuff and put up a massive tent to keep everybody dry. Go check him out. He does some incredible barbecue. He's got a heart of gold. He's just an incredible human being. He is Buffalo Dan Freddy Barbecue. I'll get it out there and I'll get a link somewhere for us. But I just he's an incredible human being. So hey,
let's
Dan.
do that. Shout out to Dan. We appreciate you, Dan.
For sure.
Yeah. So back to it. I know you said so. You got to see some crazy turnovers. You got to see something going on. So on your perspective, because then we're gonna get everybody else's opinion. What do you think the Bills have to do? I mean, other than what we did week 2, but hopefully Tua is healthy. Hopefully we don't knock him out the game and he can finish the game. I would like to see him take a step forward. What do you think? The Bills have to do to duplicate their success from last week or from week 2.
Oh man. Well, it would have been a completely different game last time if Tua had played. Probably would have finished 35-7. But I don't know, man. They're so beat up. Miami's so beat up. No Preston Williams, no Devontae Parker, no Will Fuller. They got, it's bad. Baker might not be playing. Like basically the Bills just have to kind of show up and don't beat themselves. It's just like I said, limit the turnovers. And Miami always finds a way to save its worst effort for the Bills. Like in the last 2 games, I've never seen more drops in my life. Like Devontae Parker beats White in the end zone and just drops a touchdown and hits him in the stomach. Miami's got the ball and Jakeem Grant fumbles on your 3-yard line when we're going in. Like Albert Wilson it hits him in the face mask. It was awful. It was just awful. So literally just don't turn the ball over, and try and don't let Allen get hurt and just try and escape this game with no injuries and keep it close to the vest, and you'll just eventually wear us down and win by 35-40 points.
Okay. Well, Ange, what you think? How do you feel about the game tomorrow? First, let's look at it from the Dolphins' perspective, because I think right now, league wide, regardless of what outlet you're watching, everybody think the Bills gonna smack these boys. So what do you think the Dolphins have to do in order to keep this thing, to compete or win? What do you think they have to do to win the game?
Mm-hmm. I think it is going to be tough because there are some injuries, like Parker and guys like that being out. But I think if they get guys like Waddle and Gesicki and things like that going, and, we saw Tua, he's starting to be a little bit more mobile and run around. So I think if he, finds that space, maybe he can, make some things happen. But I think we just, on our end for the Bills, I think we just need to play smart football, cut down on those penalties, especially special teams. We got to get it together a little bit. I think if you can get our running game going a bit, I think that would be great because they seem to struggle with that a little bit last week with, Patterson and things like that. So I think if we can really just stick it out to them, put the pressure on them, create some turnovers, I think it'll be a good game.
Okay. What you thinking, K-Gun? What do you think we have to do then on that flip side? Because she just told us what she thinks that Miami has to do to win. What about you? How do you see the Bills handling this?
I actually found some really cool stats earlier today. And one of them leads me that this is going to be, we joke around about this being the daddy daycare game. This is going to be Josh Allen's time. He needs to get aggressive, to really put up a lot of points on them. So 2 of the stats that I found right now, the way that it stands, the Dolphins are the 31st in the league right now for the points per game that they allow. They're the 32nd team in the league with the number of yards that they allow per game. So with that being said, we've got a quarterback who can fire a ball into outer space. And I think that's what he needs to do. I think we need to let go of those feelings, or he needs to let go of any sort of feelings of, possibly being intercepted. Any sort of fear needs to be abolished. It doesn't matter if we make mistakes. Sorry, Kevin. It doesn't matter if we make mistakes during this, because we'll be able to make those mistakes back. But I think for us to get a really good jump on it, Josh needs to go in and he just needs to be mega aggressive.
No, I agree. I think you're right. We need to be aggressive, because I don't want it to be one of those situations where it's kind of like, in a way, kind of like what we experienced in going into the Titans game, where you kind of assume, we're going to beat these guys, we're better than these guys, but then out of nowhere something happens and the game goes a completely different way. He needs to be aggressive the entire time. One of the things I want to see, we started to see it week 2, but then it seems like it kind of died down a little bit. I want to see Devin and Zach get way more involved. I want to see those guys be aggressive and be physical. Kevin, do you have any concerns about the run game, or is your concern strictly Josh Allen and then on the other side, the defense?
No, I'm not too worried. Like last game, you guys was second play of the game. You went for a long touchdown there, Singletary. But other than that, you don't. You didn't do anything the rest of the game. I'm more concerned about Josh Allen running than I am the running backs. Our defensive line is better than your interior offensive line, and I'm not worried about you running. I'm worried about the edges being able to get a pass rush in your passing game, pretty much.
Okay. What you think, Sterl's like? You know what? Good transition question there too, because last time, obviously, Tua got knocked out early. Got knocked out in the first quarter. What is your take on the difference that we're going to see now in this game? So when you're talking about the difference between Jacoby Brissett and Tua Tagovailoa, some people would say at this point in their career, Jacoby's probably a better quarterback, but he's still not a great quarterback. He's not a franchise guy that can lead your team somewhere. That's why the Colts didn't keep him. That's why, obviously the Patriots didn't look to see him as a future for their franchise. What do you think about the difference between those two quarterbacks?
I think Jacoby Brissett has the ability to keep them on schedule just a little more, just because he's a veteran quarterback. He could see the field a little bit better, but Tua's ceiling is much higher than Jacoby Brissett's. I mean, there's no question about that. Jacoby has always been a steady hand. I think, when you kind of do a little window dressing as far as coverages are concerned, I think he runs into some issues. Whereas Tua, because he's such a young quarterback, if you take away his first read, he's going to have issues, right? And then you have, I think they both dealt with the fact that the Miami Dolphins offensive line was really bad. I mean, you talk about, you got guys in there, Jesse Davis is starting at right tackle now, right? That's not good. And then what AJ Epinesa was able to do to Austin Jackson, they put Austin Jackson at left guard. I mean, Kevin can speak on that, but their offensive line is really bad, and I don't care who you got back there. It's kind of like Josh Allen in his first year when he got drafted. The Bills, we had a terrible offensive line, so and he struggled because of it. When you don't have a good offensive line, it in terms of protections and checks and so forth, you're going to have issues from the quarterback position. So I think as far as, what the Bills can do to the Dolphins, one of the things that I noticed about Tua is that he doesn't like to throw to the right side of the field. I think he struggles trusting his eyes and what he sees based on the coverage and the reads. When he throws to his right side, and this is just from the 4 games that I watched, the one, a little bit, from just studying film, it's like he does not like to throw it past 5 yards, or it's behind the line of scrimmage. Like, and I know they like to do the quick passing game and so forth, but you want to see with those weapons that he does have. I don't know if it's because he's afraid of the offensive line, just not trusting them to protect him, or is it just he's just likes the one read and this is where I'm going to go with the football, and that's just it. I don't know, Kevin. What do you think about that? Like his inability to throw right. Have you noticed it?
Man, guys. Oh my God. Okay, first off, Jacoby Brissett is so much worse than Tua Tagovailoa. So much worse. I cannot grasp the narrative on Tua. He literally just came off a game where he threw 40 passes and 38 of them hit the receiver in the hands. He threw for almost 300 yards. He had 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, a quarterback rating of 110. Jacoby Brissett couldn't manage to do anything in his time in there. Jacoby Brissett is gun shy. Jacoby Brissett won't throw deep against the Jaguars, which is just the Jaguars. Tua completed 6 passes over 20 yards. 6. So his yards per attempt is up a full yard.
But we're talking about the Falcons defense, which isn't very good at all.
But
and that's a difference.
Yeah,
that's a difference.
Exactly. But let me ask you, Sterling, if we can remember back to keep in mind, Tua's made 12 starts. If we can think,
we're not going to do what you're about to say. I know what you're about to say.
If you can think back to Josh Allen's first year, if he had a game where he threw 4 touchdowns and 290, right? Because keep in mind, it took 3 years to break 276. If he had that game, would the narrative have been, hey, he's improving, we're seeing the light, or the narrative been, should we put Jacoby Brissett back in? Like his last 2 games he's played against, granted bums, right? Jags and Texans, Jags and Falcons. But keep in mind, no Parker, no Fuller, no Williams. You know what I mean? Like and a garbage offensive line, like you mentioned. Like they're all very young. When they started the season, 4 of the 5 starting offensive linemen had less than 16 career starts. So it was a mistake to go with so much inexperience in youth. Right. All these guys are top draft picks in the last 2 years, and the last 3 if you include Michael Dieter. But he just switched to center. So all of these guys are vastly inexperienced, and I think that there might be some talent that's happening, but it's too much youth at one time. But regardless, the offensive line has been playing piss poor, and to do what he's done. Sorry, bud.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish that.
To do what he's done in the last 3 games. Keep in mind, the first game he's only played 3 games this year, unless you count like 3 plays before Epinesa caved in his chest. He went into New England and won, and then he had 2 very good games against, granted, bums. But like, I don't know, man. I don't understand why the narrative isn't the needles pointing up. Like we should be saying that he's playing better than he was. Sure. There is improvement. But I keep reading in the comments, like, would Jacoby Brissett have won a game? No. Jacoby Brissett was staring down wide open receivers and then just checking it down because he's afraid to throw picks. So I'd rather Tua in the game to answer the question. Well, I'm sure he's going to throw 4 picks tomorrow.
And that's the same with Josh Allen. It's what is the quarterback seeing pre-snap, post-snap? What decisions is he making? Tua made some good decisions, and that's why I only brought up, he needs to read the whole field. And sometimes I feel like he locks onto that first receiver. Josh Allen did the same thing early in his career. He would lock onto the first receiver. But the thing about Josh Allen versus Tua is Josh Allen had the ability, once he did start looking at the entire field, he could throw it anywhere. And I feel like Tua, I don't know if it's the hip thing where, his mechanics, or he just doesn't have really good arm strength. You want to see him progress in that area more. And I think that comes with time, but I don't, I'm for Tua, actually. I don't hate the guy. I think he's limited, and I think he deserves a chance to, if they don't want him, I think he deserves a chance. Let's put him with a good offensive line and see what he does. Let's put him with some weapons and people who want to be there in an organization that's not toxic as hell. I think he may have a future because the guy has always been able to produce and play well. So I just think that the Dolphins are, whatever's going on down there, man, it ain't working. And they're just setting him up to fail. And I felt so bad for him this week because watching him talk, he wants to say and do the right things. And he is from a media perspective, but in his head, he's got to be like, man, this is bump. Like,
right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that from him, but we all know, if like, bro, he's like, man, get me the hell out of here. Like, quit playing with me. And then Brian Flores, and the light's being shined on him now. It's like, he keeps saying, well, Tua's our quarterback, but like, he endorses guys like Xavier Howard when he was going through his thing, but it's like, he just won't come out and endorse Tua. I don't know if it's John Ross, the ownership. I don't know what it is. Maybe you could speak to that at some point. But man, just get on with it. Like trade for Deshaun or not. Tua's your guy. You drafted him. Might as well ride it out at this point. Why would you trade for a guy? Not to talk about Deshaun, but why would you trade for a guy that might not even see the field? It just don't make no sense.
Well, the thing is, like, when you're talking about all of that, first, I don't think Brian Flores, I talked about it actually an hour ago on Time to Shine with Joe. Brian Flores didn't want Tua. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like he didn't endorse him from the time that they drafted him. It wasn't his guy. He wanted Justin Herbert. It was widely reported. And Kevin, tell me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like it's been widely reported that he wanted Justin Herbert as a quarterback in Miami. And the Buffalo Bills as a fan base and the New Jersey Jets and the New England Patriots have dodged a bullet when it comes to that. Because Justin Herbert in Miami with that team would have absolutely been a completely different squad. For sure. So, and real quick, because I want Kevin to respond to that. Can we not do this? Can we put respect on my guy Tyrod's name? Brissett is not a bigger Tyrod. Tyrod Taylor has won games in this league. Tyrod Taylor is a very good quarterback. He's not a superstar. He's not a franchise guy. He's not, but Tyrod is. Come on, let's not do this. All respect to Jason Taylor here, but let's not make these type of comparisons. Let's not. But go ahead, Kev. Like let's.
Yeah, I always find it weird that the Bills fans they look back fondly at Fitz, but for some reason Tyrod doesn't get the same thing.
Bro,
man, Tyrod had some, like you said, he's a guy that ended the drought, right? Well, at least he was the quarterback at the time.
He was, yep.
He was the guy that ended the drought. Yeah,
exactly. But it's come out this summer that's been reported. Man, it's so ironic. Miami's like they're trying to be so secretive, like they wouldn't even announce who was calling plays, because they're trying to get this weird competitive advantage. Yet everything leaks out of the building, everything. Like I don't know if this is true or not, but I have heard that Spence that that wasn't Flores' guy. Now I don't know. We assume it's Herbert. Maybe he was all in on Burrow. Maybe he was all in on whatever, maybe he wanted to trade up for that because Miami had the 3 firsts, I don't know. We just assume it's Herbert. But I know the owner was in love with Herbert, and the owner was pounding the table for Lamar Jackson. And we said, nah, we'll take Minka. And then the owner pounded for Herbert, and they're like, no, trust us. And now he's probably pretty pissed. But yeah, I've heard that he's not been to his guy from the start.
Yeah. And I think that's unfortunate. K-Gun, talk to me a little bit about so outside looking in now. We're obviously, again, Bills fans. This is a Bills-based podcast. So you look outside looking in. How do you look at that situation down there with the quarterback situation and really just the team? Because one of the things that I just said to Joe is like, dude, it's weird. They had great talent over the last few years go through that city. Like when I say they had some good free agents sign, but they also had good free agents get out. Like they left, they opted out, they got traded, whatever. What the heck is going on down there as far as culture? Like what it doesn't make sense.
I honestly I don't know. That's such a tough question to answer because I was actually thinking about that a little bit today as well. In that, honestly, when I thought about Miami going into this season, Kevin, I didn't think you guys were going to be good, but I didn't think you were going to be this. I expected you guys to be better this year, and I was a little bit surprised to see the way that the cards have unfolded. With that being said, I'm still on the fence about Tua. I know that Miami sees him as being this knight in shining armor, but then there's been a lot of pieces that I just haven't seen from him that I think that we need to, as far as what you guys need to see from him. And obviously you're right. Jacoby Brissett is not your answer either. I feel like you guys are kind of in the cycle that we were in for so long with constant, it's going to be quarterback turnover until you find like a franchise guy. I just don't know if Tua is your guy or not. And it's such a tough call. I don't know what the culture's like down there. I don't.
Well, so you just said you don't know if Tua is the guy, and I feel like again, Kevin just talked about how like a lot of Miami fans, like when you're looking in the comment section on all these articles and podcast or whatever, you're just in there and you see the Miami fans saying like, "Hey, well, would Brissett probably get the call this week so that way we could win or whatever?" And the thing is, I agree with Kevin in the perspective. I don't agree with the comparison to Josh. I hate the fact that so many people around the league compare their quarterbacks and these young guys to Josh. I also hate the fact that I always hear, if he can make a Josh Allen leap. First of all, Josh Allen wasn't even projected to make a Josh Allen leap. Like, that stuff doesn't happen. It's literally probably only happened twice in the history of the NFL, where a guy came into the league with the numbers that he did and then got so much better. I just think that I think as Bills fans and Miami fans and people around the league, I think that we're just a little too quick to say, like, Tua's not that guy. I think he's just starting to kind of get healthy. At least that's my perspective of it.
I'll agree with you on that. Oh, sorry, I'm going to agree with you on that. However, I'm also going to say, so my boss is a diehard Miami fan, like diehard. And he chirps, like crazy. So I mean, it's funny because like he'll call me into his office and be like, "Shut the door," and start talking football. And so I'm kind of like, I've had to listen. So it was like in the beginning of this season. And I think that's why I have a little bit of a different perspective on Tua, because I'm watching this diehard Miami fan, like, go through the roller coaster motion that we all went through as Bills fans for so long, like during this season specifically. I mean, before the first game of this season, he was in there chirping about how Tua was going to take you guys to the Super Bowl and this, that, and the other thing. Oof. And then by game 3, he's like, I really like Josh Allen. By Monday of this week, he walks in and he goes, "Long-time, lifetime Bills fan here," and he was just like, so, but he's going to the game this weekend. Actually, he was trying to offload his tickets, but now I talked him into going. But it's just, I think I have a little bit of a different perspective on Miami as well, because I've seen
you've seen the roller coaster,
the excitement around your team, and before the season started, and then the crushing, the crushing feelings the last few weeks from you guys.
I had not the excitement because I'm a Bills fan, but I had the perspective, or I was looking at that team as I thought they were going to be second in the division. I thought they had a certain type of talent on that team, whether you're talking receivers, the young guy that they just drafted, they had solid defensive players. They have 2 good cornerbacks, safeties. Like, I really thought that the team was going to be second in the division. A-Dub, before we bring this back around to Kev, why don't you kind of just talk about, because I just heard you say you too, you kind of had that perspective. What did you see going into the season, and like now, like they're 1-6? It's like, wait, what's happening here?
Yeah, and I think what kind of like made me think is just like, you kind of ask Kagan, like, what's the culture? And I think that's the thing, is like they're trying to figure it out, right? It's like they've had a lot of turnover as far as like players have been going, and like switching back between like quarterbacks and people being injured and things like that. And I feel like there hasn't been, especially in the quarterback position, like a big leadership role. Like Josh is such a leader, I feel like, on our team. And I feel like that's what Miami's kind of been missing, in the locker room and just like on the team in general. And I think, that obviously, shows when, you don't have as, much cohesion, and, everyone, I feel like they kind of look like lost puppies almost, like, trying to really figure it out. And it's unfortunate because, like Kagan was saying, I thought they would have been, between them and, maybe the Patriots, I thought, it would have been, maybe one of them to be, in that second spot. But yeah, it's hard. But as far as Tua goes, like, I don't hate Tua. Like, I just don't think he's really had a chance to just really like play and show us what he's about. And I also don't think he's really had like the resources around him to like really see, like, for us to see what he's like really capable of. Obviously, offensive line isn't that great and things like that. So it's like, I feel like if he had, better, weapons around him and things like that, maybe we'd really see like who he is. But I feel like he's just kind of been in an unfortunate situation. But I will say, as far as the media and everything like that goes, I think he's been really mature about it. He's obviously a young guy, but it's not like, he's storming off or, cussing anyone out or anything like that. So I think I really have to commend him in that way of, being a leader, of just, being a real professional about how everything's been going. Because that's really hard when you're constantly being asked, about somebody else coming to take your job. Like, I can't imagine like how that feels. So I just want to say, like, hats off to him for just, being able just to come to work every day and just do what he does. So.
Yeah. Well, Kev, let's end this thing out. We got about 10 minutes left, so I'm gonna start this question with you. We're gonna roll it around, and then we're gonna get it after that. We'll get a Josh Allen. For you could do the Tua stat line and prediction and all that stuff, but we'll do a Josh Allen stat line and prediction. But last question. So the division right now, it seems lopsided as far as talent or as far as how the schedule is rolling out. The Patriots look like they might be figuring out some things. Mac Jones looks okay. He doesn't look bad at all as a rookie. They're not getting the play out of their tight ends that I expected them to get, but they seem to be moving the ball a little bit better. They're picking up a couple wins here. But the Bills are clearly the best team, right? And then after that, it still is muddy waters. So Kev, for you, how do you see the division shaping up for the rest of the season, and then really just the year for the conference as well?
It's the Bills and 3 bums. I don't think New England's got anything. I think Mac Jones is a bum. Their 3 wins are against the Texans, Jags, and Jets. Everything about Mac Jones has been inferior to Tua, but somehow the narrative is they found their guy. They found their guy. Lower average yards per attempt, but all I hear is Tua's dinks and dunks. But they found their guy. I think.
But wait,
Kev,
they almost beat Tampa.
They almost, yeah. Miami's lost 3 games on a game-ending field goal, so we're almost 4-2. You know what I mean? But we're not. So like,
but not against Tampa.
No, exactly. But I don't see it, man. Like, the defense is nice, but they have 0 chance of competing with you guys because they just cannot score. Mac Jones. Actually, it'll be interesting against you guys because your whole philosophy is to give up the short rally and tackle, prevent the big play. And that does kind of play into his strength. So that being said, I'm sure he might score 10 points before you guys crush him, but there's 0 threat level there. Not any team in this division is going to touch you guys. You could possibly have the division wrapped up by like week 11, which is like insane when you think about it. But yeah, Miami is, if everything goes right, we might end up, 7-10. I think the Patriots are maybe that sounds weird. You can't say 8-8 anymore, like 8-9 team. Yeah, Richard, exactly. If you can't move the ball, we'll look at the Bills game. Remember in week 2, we played you guys, and that was probably Josh Allen's worst game against Miami. Not that it was bad, but it was the best we had done against him. And then we looked up and it was 35-zip because we couldn't move the ball. So eventually you kept you scored, right? But yeah, it's and then the Bills are clearly, in my opinion, the best team. Either them and Tampa are the 2 best teams, right? And then I think it's a sizable drop. The Titans play you well, but they're not as good of a team. They seem to always play the Bills better than they do other teams. I think they'll get knocked out in the playoffs pretty early. I think it's you guys are going to the Super Bowl, and I think that you're once again the Bills are their happiness will be in the fate of Tom Brady's hands. That's my prediction.
You know how crazy that would be for it all to come full circle, and like the time we win the Super Bowl is against the guy that kicked our ass for 17 years. Like, do you know how like. It'll be incredible. Okay, gonna talk about that real quick before you answer the question on like how you see the division rolling out. Like, how would that feel for you?
I've said this before, actually, that I think it would be one of the most poetic things that the NFL has ever seen. Because I mean, let's be real. We're all about the same age, right? I was 5 years old when we came out of that last Super Bowl. I was 13 years old when we entered the drought. I was 32 years old when we broke the drought. Like, my entire adult life was 100% ruined by Tom Brady. Like, my entire, not my adult, my childhood, like, football fandom was ruined by Tom Brady. And so for that we finally, we're cheering up and down all of the walls about he's finally gone. And if we hit him in the Super Bowl, like, come on. I don't know. I feel like he's playing better than he's playing in New England, honestly. Now, I think he's playing better in Tampa. So I would be terrified to hit him in the Super Bowl. I don't know if we could get past him, but I think it would be poetic to finally see the Bills hit him. Like, hey, this is what we do when we get him out of the division. We just rise up and we come back with a vengeance, Richard. So, like, yeah, that's interesting. As far as the division goes, I am with Kevin on this. I don't think that anybody comes close to touching us because I was thinking about this while Kevin was doing his answer, trying to even rank who I think would hit that second place spot, and I don't know. I don't know because I think on paper it should be Miami. who's it actually going to be? Well, it's obviously not going to be the Jets. They're not going to be a number 2. So that leaves it up to Miami or the Patriots. But who's going to take that? So I don't know. Maybe Bills, Patriots, Miami, Jets. But even then, it's so tough.
Yeah, the gap is so wide. You look at the Patriots, and even though they won a couple more games than Miami, they're still not. I wouldn't just look at them and say, oh, they're better than Miami. I wouldn't do it.
Right.
The way the games have gone, they've won more games so far, but I don't see them as the better team than Miami. But again, I'm shocked at Miami's record, like I mentioned to Kev earlier. A-Dubs, Big Dubs, where you at? How you feel about the division?
Yeah, I think it's us, and then Miami and the Pats, and then the Jets are just a dumpster fire as usual. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really bad. That's all I can really say at this point.
Yeah. Sterles, where you at with it, man?
Well, the Pats are definitely the second best team in the division. Miami, man, there's a lot of hope. I love Javon Holland. That dude's he's a baller. Mm-hmm. Jalen Waddle scares me every time he touches the ball. They got some players, and I would be okay with get rid of Devontae Parker and get Tua out of there. I like those guys, right? So I want to see those guys succeed. I don't hate the Dolphins, man. I have all the respect in the world for Kevin for being on here tonight. And just talking with him. So it feels real nice that the Bills are top dog. Like, let that sink in for a minute. Like, the Bills are the top dog in the AFC East, and it's going to be like that for the next 10, 15 years as long as Josh Allen's a quarterback, and there's no question. So it just feels good to finally be back on top, man.
It does. And you know what? I always say this on every show, basically. It's like for the first time in our adult lives, because all of us are pretty much around the same age. And I know we all remember as kids the 4 Super Bowls, and we remember the time that the team was good. But I hate when people act like, yeah, I was around for that. You were a kid, dude. Like, you weren't as in love with the team like you are now. This feels good for us to experience what our parents and what our aunts and uncles and whoever went through. This is so dope for me. Like, this is so dope. Man. There was one comment, because we're about to get on out of here, but there was one comment that I had to go back and just like absolutely I got to call you out. Puka, Derrick Henry is not overrated. Let me just say, Derrick Henry, when Christian McCaffrey is not healthy, Derrick Henry is the best running back in the league. And furthermore, Derrick Henry should be in your top 3 discussion for MVP this year. He should have been in your top 3 discussion for MVP last year, but it's a quarterback award that's given out, and they rarely even pay attention to receivers, running backs, defensive players. Gilmore should have got it before, but that's a whole different conversation. I know we hate the Patriots, so I'm not going to do it. He's not there no more. But Derrick Henry is not overrated. Let's stop doing this. We're smarter than that, Bills fans. Come on, I love you. Let's not do this. Kev, why don't you, before give me your prediction, your stat line for Tua.
All right, so Bills 51-10.
Yeah. This is a 50 burger?
Yes, 51-10. Tua's going to look really sharp in the fourth quarter and lead that touchdown drive with about 3 minutes left in the game to narrow the gap to 51-10. He's probably going to end up with about 272 yards, a touchdown, and we'll say 3 turnovers. I'm going to go with a fumble and 2 picks.
Oh, buddy.
Ooh.
Okay. You know what?
Who's he throwing to? Mac Hollins?
Are you okay?
Like
Sterles is gone. Sterles is gone.
Like Sterling's probably looking for a wide receiver who plays for Miami. We can't find them.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Mac Hollins is down there, buddy. Yeah, Albert Wilson, fear. Yeah, bums, man.
Justice said, "Chin up, Kevin, man.
They can't
you
hurt
got
me
something to
anymore,
look for."
Man.
Yeah, like
God,
you just did the Eminem.
Kevin, you should just hop in for them. Just go, go try.
But Kevin literally just did the Eminem. He just did the Eminem 8 Mile thing.
I bet I can drop as many balls as Jakeem Brandt. I tell you that right now.
Jeez,
confident that I can't catch.
Dude, you just did the Eminem 8 Mile thing where you like just said all the crap about yourself. You're just like, tell me what you can say about me. Boom. Like you literally just dogged the Dolphins. Like, yep, 51-10. Y'all gonna destroy us. It's gonna be turnovers. It's gonna be shoot, take your best shot. Talk crap while you want to. I respect it, but I feel bad for you, man. Like as a Bills fan, that's one thing I've never done. So like because I really didn't feel like it. So like even when the Bills weren't good, I always felt like we were kind of middle of the pack. We had a couple years, like when we drafted Darius, the year before we drafted Marcel, we were bad. That's why we were so high. But typically we were always like six in like 8 wins, 9 wins, 7 wins. We weren't the team at this point in the season 1-6, you know. So I was never like that down where I was like, yo, they're gonna blow us out, they're gonna destroy us. I respect you. That's tough to say publicly, man. I respect you for that. Before we get on out here, I'm gonna go around and ask everybody else too, but then we're gonna do that. Why don't you give everybody where your platform is, what you got going on, what you're doing, where they can find you, and then we'll switch over to Sterls here.
Me, I don't know, man. I told you before, I'm just some dude that gets added into random Twitter chats. And then next thing you know, I make some friends, you know, like you guys. One day, Pierre's just like added Kevin, and then he likes to throw me in, right? And then they're like, "Wait a minute, is this guy a Dolphins fan?" And then the panic sets in, and then everyone gets real quiet for a bit, and then that's my Twitter handle down there. If you want to witness weekly reports on my pain, that's where you will find me. I have this week I like to retweet the "this is embarrassing" tweet. It's on a 3-week roll right now, and I expect to be using it on Sunday.
Well, so everybody knows, I know the way Kevin just said it there, that he's not like an official contributor for Buffalo Fanatics, but I'm going to tell you, he's as much of a part as Buffalo Fanatics as Pierre, Rico, Bobby, like whoever. There's so many good content creators over there. Kevin has a lot of insight. When Joe Sterling and I were part of Buffalo Fanatics, that chat was jumping. I'm sure it's still jumping because y'all boys have the energy going over there. But listen, Kevin is the real deal. If you have questions about Miami Dolphins things, if you have questions about players, and I'm gonna be honest, he has good insight about the Buffalo Bills that a lot of people wouldn't expect because he's a Dolphins fan. He has a lot of good insight. I respect him very much. I appreciate you.
I just want to say that I have watched every single Bills game, including preseason games, for the last 5 years. So I've seen every single snap of Josh Allen's career. So when I argue online, I'm not like the guy that sees him twice a year and then bases my opinions off a red zone. I've seen literally every snap for the last 5 years that you guys have played.
Well, you and Rico typically, I don't know if it's an every week thing, but you guys watch the games together, right? Like typically you watch the Bills game with him?
Well, he moved now. He's moved. He's really far now. He's moved like across the country. We're Canadians, right? So he moved to the East Coast where his wife's from. And so it hasn't been lately. I was on with him last night, just online. But yeah, I used to watch the games with him. And then you'd blurt something out. You'd be like, oh, that wasn't a good throw. And then all of a sudden he'd tweet it out and 700 Bills fans would start screaming at me until Tuesday because I made a snap judgment based on the TV angle. It was a lot of fun.
Well, shout out to Rico and like I said, all them boys over there at Buffalo Fanatics, man. That's where it all got started for me. Really, a lot of us, Sterls, Joe, a bunch of us. So shout out to those guys over there. Y'all keep doing the thing that y'all doing, keep growing, making it loud. Sterls, let's get well, go ahead and sip on your thing. Then I go to A-Dubs, Big Dubs. A-Dubs, Big Dubs. Give me a good prediction for Josh. Give me a game prediction and a hot take. We can get on out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to go 42-10 Bills. I think Josh is going to go for 350. And I think 2 of the touchdowns are going to be him running them in because I think he's going to want a little bit of redemption. And I'm sorry he's got to take it out on Daddy Daycare, but somebody's got to do it.
Daddy Daycare. Matter of fact, I got something for y'all tomorrow. I was going to play it here tonight, but I'm that person that has a fear of people ripping down my stuff and posting it before I can. So I'm not going to share it tonight on the Chop Up. But I feel like I got a funny one for y'all tomorrow. Y'all going to enjoy it. But that's a good take. It's kind of similar to Kevin's, but Kevin said a 50 burger. He said a 50.
Mm-hmm. Confidently, yeah.
Confident. Where you at with a K-Dub? I'm K-Dubs. Good grief. See, I'm adding names together. K-Gun, where we at with it?
I'm going to put Josh let's put him at 300 yards. I'm going to go with the game score being 27-13 Bills. I'm gonna go a little bit closer. I'll give you guys a couple of touchdowns with a missed kick on that, Kevin. Also, Kevin, are you Canadian?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I kept hearing it in your voice.
He says,
Hot take. yeah. Like, actually, will you say something for me? Will you say that you're out and about fishing for trout?
Out and about fishing for trout.
Thank you.
There you go.
I just love it.
Yeah.
I went to school with a bunch of guys from Toronto, and I used to always make them say that. I don't know why, like 10 years ago. You know.
I just always think about what's the South Park. Every time like I think about South Park and like how they like make the Canadians seem like you're so different, but it's really just an accent, man. Like being here in Phoenix, people tell me I have an accent every day, and I'm like, I don't. Like Buffalo, we don't have an accent. But go ahead, Kago, my bad.
My hot take. Oosh, it's tough with this game. I'm gonna go with. I think Miami's gonna try and throw the ball a lot for this one. Like really, I think that's gonna be a big part of their game plan. I think that they're just gonna try and launch over our heads because I know that that's one thing that they're kind of okay at. If anything, is the receiving yards right now. So let's go with that. I don't really know what else I would say with the hot take here for this game because I'm not really expecting a big, flashy anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's cool. It sounds like, everybody is just, before we get to Steros, it sounds like everybody is just like, look, the game is kind of going to be similar to week 2, but, they might score. They watch some film, figure some things out, but it's not going to be anything that's really going to matter to the outcome of the game. Where are you at with it, Steros?
I'm going to say 31-13 Bills. I do like the fact that the Dolphins are playing more zone coverage than man coverage. They're kind of mixing it up a little bit now. So I think that's going to limit the Bills in terms of output. Josh Allen's going to, it's daddy daycare this week. So, I expect to see Mitchell Trubisky in the fourth quarter. But I definitely I want Tua to do well, man. I want Tua and Waddle to do well. So I'm going to say 31-13 Bills.
All right. So I'm going to go, I think I said 43-13. I think Josh Allen's going to have, 3 through the air. We're going to get a few on the ground there. I think it's going to be a good game, man, for the Bills fans. Like, I think it's going to be one of those games where we're on Twitter just enjoying it, just having fun. It's going to be everybody, I don't know. It's just going to be one of those games where we're not going to have much to complain about. And I'm going to probably be nitpicking, for the code of conduct. I'll probably be nitpicking, Spencer Brown missing one block that got, Zach Moss tackled for a loss. Like, I'll be nitpicking something like that. I don't think it's going to be anything where it's like, oh, we showed a major weakness this week. And when that happens, when stuff like that happens, it's tough for content creators because it's almost like you just come out and you sound cocky. And I don't want to sound cocky. But at the same time, I told y'all the humbleness is going away. I'm not hungry and humble no more. I'm just hungry. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, I'm about to eat dinner when we get off of this joint right now. That's how hungry I am. So, again, Kev, thank you so much for kicking it with us, man. I missed you, dog. Real talk. I missed you. We're going to have to do this more often. Got to get you in the conduct where it can be just me and you. Sure, we can just talk about some stuff. And, hey, K-Gun, let everybody know.
For me too, man.
Oh, gotcha. I think he was in the comments. I'm not sure if he's still here, but he was in there. But yeah, I'll make sure of it. Matter of fact, we might have to get you on Hump Day. Might be better. We might have to get you on Hump Day. That might happen. K-Gun, let everybody know where they can find you, and they if you got anything coming up as far as the babes. I know, is the beer still selling? Is it done or is it extended?
It is actually. I'm gonna plug that really quick because I have a can right here. So if you guys, there we go. If you guys haven't gone out and gotten some of this yet, head out to either Resurgence Brewery, Consumers, or Wegmans. Pick up some Big Berry Bean. It is delicious, and I am not just saying that because we helped brew it. It is actually really good. So. There's still a little bit of that left. I just swung up there today myself actually to grab some for the game tomorrow, and they told me that they're getting a little bit slim on the cases that they've got left. So proceeds of that beer are going to Bill's Mafia for Brandon Bean and Haley Bean's Bill's Mafia Foundation, benefiting the SPCA of Western New York. You can find me at Kimmick86. You can also find us at the Bill's Mafia Babes on Twitter, across all the rest of the handles, Facebook and Instagram as well.
Hey, Dubs, Big Dubs, where they can find you at?
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter at BillsBabe716. That's the main place to find me. And I will say with the Big Berry Bean, we also have it out in the Rochester area as well, because I know we got some Rochester folks out there. So it is at Wegmans, so you can get some. It is going, but it's there for y'all. So definitely get it. It's really good. Not just because, you know, K-Gun and I made it.
Bet. Steros for the girls with the Cover One squad. What's going on? What you got going on?
Yeah, man, you can find me over at Cover One. Our show is on Tuesday nights, the Hoof Live. Catch me on Twitter at Furrow Sterling. And yeah, that's what's up.
Yep, you and K-Gun both made me want to rap Nelly because y'all both was like, you can find me in St. Louis rolling on dubs and smoking. Like, that's where I was at as soon as y'all said it. I'm sorry. I got hip-hop on the brain all day. I want to shout out a couple things real quick. K-Gun just shouted out the Big Berry Bean that they got going on, and that is almost sold out. I hope they redo, like, I hope Resurgence is like, you know what, F it, let's push this thing out to the end of the year, because from what I hear, is super good. I can't wait to try it next week when I get there, but I'm gonna be there because we got the Buffalo Rumblings IPA coming out. That's dropping next Saturday at 6 p.m. Meet us at Resurgence. We're going to be there. We're going to be doing the Time to Shine live. We're going to be doing the Chop Up / Code of Conduct live. That's going to be happening. I don't think Steros is going to be there, but K-Dubs, keep doing that. I'm sorry. I'm tripping that. A-Dubs, Big Dubs, K-Gun is going to be there. We're going to have my man Pat Moran is going to be there. We're going to have Nate Geary is going to be there. Ashley Petty's going to be there. And I got a special guest that I'm not going to announce because I just need y'all to come and be surprised. If not, y'all going to miss out on it. I'm telling y'all now, y'all going to miss out. And then another thing I need to shout out, head over to justincasebags.net. I'm telling y'all need to get this because we got something just in case for everybody. Whether it's a trip out after the gym and you don't have time to get home, we got something that you can freshen up, make sure you got everything you need. We got something for if you're getting off from work and you can't get home before you got dinner with somebody. Just in case, we got you going. And then that sneaky link after the game, because I already know how Bills Mafia gets down. Got some sneaky things going on. Go ahead. You got your just in case bag. Y'all need to pack a bag anyway and leave it in the trunk. I know how ladies do. I know how y'all do. And what am I thinking? Bodies. I forgot to update y'all on the bodies. My man Tremaine Edmonds is out here for the season. He's up to 40 bodies on the year. He's murdering people on live TV. And I expect tomorrow to be much of the same. The thing is, though, I don't think he's going to go up as much because I think if I'm seeing this game properly, and Kev, I'm going to ask you about this before we get out of here. 2 questions. I don't think the starters are going to be playing into the fourth quarter. Do you agree with that?
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay. And then secondly, I just need your take and perspective on this. What do you think about my dog, Tremaine Edmonds, man? Please, I just need to know how you feel about Tremaine because Buffalo got me messed up.
Man, he's terrible. Trade him to Miami. We'll take him, I guess.
He's terrible.
I mean, he looks like a defensive tackle. He runs like a safety, and he seems to be getting better each year. Yeah, I think that he's an impact player. I really like him. I'll take him any day of the week.
Yeah, I just needed to hear you say it because there's a lot of Bills fans that still don't give respect to my dog. Yeah, Tremaine's my dog. Y'all know how I get down. Listen, y'all know how we do it here at Buffalo Rumblings YouTube and Podcast Network. It's your boy Jay Spencer King with my girl A-Dubs, Big Dubs, K-Gun, my man Steros for the girls, and my brother, my friend Kevin from I know he said he's not Buffalo Fanatics. My man Kevin from Buffalo Fanatics, man. Thank you so much. We're gonna get on out of here, but y'all love each other, take care of each other, and live in peace. And as always, stay positive, test negative. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
What is wrong? Yeah, I was about to, man. Y'all